Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video, we'll be unboxing the STARBLOOD Stalkers for Warhammer Underworlds. Here we go, here's the STARBLOOD Stalkers, the newest release for Warhammer Underworlds Direchasm. I'm really happy to get these in the post this week. And here you go, you can see the box, we've got some nice artwork, and it says on the side that it's easy to build, and you can construct your deck, and then battle your rivals with the contents. And then on the back, it tells us exactly what's included. 6 easy to build miniatures. Here they are all lined up in this real dark blue teal colour. And then the contents there, we're going to get the fighters, all the cards, a universal deck, and the deck specific to the STARBLOOD Stalkers. So in this video, we'll open the box, get them all out, I'll build them up, and we'll also take a look at some of the cards in detail, some that catch my eye and stand out. Okay, let's get this open. And so there's a little tab on the side here. We just cut that, and then we'll be able to open it up. And these little sets come with a nice black tray, so it keeps everything neat and tidy. Sometimes I find the sprues can actually dent the cards, so you have to be careful with that. But here we go, here's the contents. So we've got 2 sprues, and again, that nice dark teal colour. And then we're going to get a single card. So this was a bit weird, getting a single card in there, but we'll find out why in a second. And then we've got our 2 decks. We've got a universal deck and a deck specific to the STARBLOOD Stalkers. So this one is for Kixi Taka, the leader. So we'll find out why that's separate as we work through the video. So we'll have a look at the sprues, flick through all the cards, then I'll build the miniatures, and we'll take a look at some of the cards and the fighter cards in detail. So here's our first sprue, and just like all the Underworld sets, the bases all come pre-formed, so that's really great, saves a lot of time. We can just paint them up and get them ready quite quickly. And some great sculpts here, some really nice details and textures. This guy's going to be huge, and he looks really good. That tail's massive, and the scales are really awesome, really pronounced. So lots of detail here, as I would expect from the photos we've seen building up to it. So that's the first sprue, and here's the second one. And these bases have got a bit more texture than the others. And so you can see we're getting 6 fighters, loads of detail, loads of different weapons. And this is going to be really great to put together. And it shouldn't be too hard. Looks pretty simple to assemble, just like all the others. They're easy fit, but I still glue them. Add a bit of glue to make sure they go together and stay together. So let's go through the cards next. We've got this separate card, and then we've got the 2 universal decks and the deck that's specific to get started with the STARBLOOD Stalkers. So we'll get these out. We've also got the instruction book here as well. So we'll get rid of that wrapping, put that out of the way, and let's get started. So here we go. Here's a little instruction book. Really easy to build. They don't come with a paint guide or anything like that, but you can find all that on the Games Workshop website. But here we are. It's not going to take us long at all to get these put together. So that's the instruction book. Then we've got this fighter card for the leader, Kixi Taka. And so that's separate. And then we've got the deck here for the STARBLOOD Stalkers. And then we're going to take a look at all the different fighter cards now. So this guy is called Zepik, Skink Hunter. We've got Tok, Taptil, Klaktrok. And then we've got Kixi Taka. And you can see that this one is in Spanish. So that's the mistake they made, I guess, when assembling the decks. So they've put the English ones separate. I guess it was too late to add it in. So yeah, so if you've picked this up, you're probably going to have a Spanish card and then a separate English card like this. So we get rid of that Spanish card, and we still need to find one more fighter. So here we go. There's the STARBLOOD Stalkers introduction. So this one card gives us an introduction, but here's the final fighter, Huachi. And so that gives us 6 fighter cards altogether. And we'll go through all these in detail once I've built the miniatures. And here we go. Here's the objective cards, and these are the ones specific for the STARBLOOD Stalkers. They've got their rune mark in the top right, and the artwork's brilliant. I really like the artwork on all the Warhammer Underworlds, but I was really looking forward to seeing the artwork specifically for the STARBLOOD Stalkers, and it's certainly not disappointing. These are great, these kind of star symbols, they're really good. And now we're moving on to the upgrades, so you can see some great pictures and images they put together, loads of action shots, some close-ups. That's a great one. Unhesitating. So cool, that's the deck for the STARBLOOD Stalkers. And then this one is the universal deck. So I'll just flick through so you can just take a quick look at them all. And so this universal deck's going to include images from previous warbands that have been released, the Dread Pageant and all the others that have come out so far, Kagra's Ravagers. So there we go, that's great. So I guess as these sets are released, we've got the Crimson Court coming next, then they'll start, in the Universal decks, they'll start including images from all the previous ones and tying them together. And I can't wait for the Crimson Court to be released, which is next month, so that's really exciting. But there we go, that's all the cards, so that was great. Now we've had a look at all the contents of the box, I'll go away and build these miniatures, and then we'll go through the fighter cards one at a time, and I'll also just pick out an objective card, a ploy, and an upgrade for each of the 2 decks. So I'll see you back here in a second with all the miniatures assembled. There we go, here they are all assembled. It didn't take long, maybe 30 minutes, and they look really great, really pleased with these miniatures. And I glue them together, I don't just do the push fit, so I just cut them off, trim all the mold lines, and then glue them together. But they look awesome, really happy with these. This one's my favourite in the middle with the spear, great sculpt, love that one. And then we also got this big guy over here, and the other 2 skinks too, so real nice selection. And with each warband, you get a little card like this that just gives you an introduction to the warband and what they're doing and how they fit in with a Warhammer Underworlds story. And so for the Starblood Stalkers, it says here, the Slann Starmasters of the Seraphon foresaw danger in Beastgrave. Unchallenged, the corrupting presence of chaos would transform the mountain into a colossal demigod whose power would wreak havoc across Gur and beyond. To prevent this from coming to pass, the Slann send a hunting party of skinks into the mountain, bolstered by the Saurus Oldblood, Clack Trock. Their leader would be the gifted skink priest, Kixie Tucker, the Diviner, who bore an artifact that, if deployed in precisely the right location, would compel the entire mountain to consume itself in self-destructive madness. Achieving this aim would be no easy task, however. As the Starblood Stalkers advance, they would have to purge Beastgrave of the servants of the Dark Gods, and in doing so, prove the innate primacy of order. So there we go, that's our introduction, and a great way to bring the Starblood Stalkers into Warhammer Underworlds. So now we've gone through their introduction, let's take a look at the fighter cards. Okay, so let's start with Kixie Tucker, the Diviner, and I thought this was going to be a kind of wizard figure, but we're looking at just a leader here. So we've got the little leader icon or rune mark here, and that's going to tell us who the leader is. And Kixie Tucker's got 2 weapons, starting with the Starstone Staff, and this has got a range of 2 attack dice, looking at smash symbol for success, and then damage is 2, and then the Starbolt, that's got a range of 3, again 2 attacks with the smash symbol, and then that's just going to give us 1 damage. So we're expecting some high movement for this warband, but Kixie Tucker starts things off with a movement 4, can make 2 defense dice rolls, and we're looking at the dodge symbol here, and it's got 3 wounds that they can take. And for Kixie Tucker to become inspired, it says here that after an activation, your warband holds 3 or more objectives. So nice and simple. And then we've got the ability here, which is an action. Pick 1 feature token within 3 hexes. Then pick 1, flip that feature token, or deal 1 damage to 1 enemy fighter within 1 hex of that token. This fighter can only make this action once per round. And now flipping over the card, this is Kixie Tucker Inspired, and there's not many changes here, but you'll see with the Starbolt weapon, this has now got 3 attack dice with the smash symbol. So that's the only change for the Inspired, and that's our first fighter, the leader, Kixie Tucker. And now here's our next fighter called Huachi. He's a skink hunter, and you'll see on all the cards you'll get an image here, and that matches the miniature. And I think this one's my favourite out of the whole warband. I really love the pose of this guy, looks really cool. And he's got 2 weapons as well. The first one is a meteoric javelin, and that's a weapon range of 1, making 2 attack rolls, and he's looking for the smash symbol, and he can deal 2 damage with that. And then here he's got the hurled javelin. This is a range of 3, so I guess he's throwing it now. And this is 2 attack dice, this time with the fury symbol, and that's going to only deal 1 point of damage. His movement is 4, and he's got 1 defense roll, and that's the symbol for block that you'll be looking for. And he's only got 2 hit points, so he can only take 2 points of damage there. so not very tough at all. And to activate, exactly the same as our leader, after an activation, your warband holds 3 or more objectives. So the goal here, I guess, is to get 3 objectives as quick as you can, and then your whole warband will inspire. So that's really cool. And he's got an ability which is called Skittish Reaction. After an opponent's power step, push this fighter 1 hex away from an enemy fighter within 2 hexes. So this warband's all about movement, and you'll see that from the cards that we go through later on. So lots of movement, lots of abilities to get them and keep them away from the enemy. And with such a low wounds characteristic there, you're really going to need these kind of abilities to survive, I think. Our next fighter is called Tabletop, and he's a skink hunter, and he's also a quarry. And you can see a great sculpt again, and there's the image. And this picture here they've done for him is just crazy looking. He looks nuts. And his weapon, this is really cool. This is really different for this one. It's a dart pipe. It's got a range of 3 attacks, but you're only hitting on a critical success, and he's only going to deal 1 damage. But that's got the cleave and ensnare attached to it. So that's really cool, but only 1 weapon. But this is an interesting mechanic to put in where we're only going to hit on a critical success. And again, the activation's the same. Once we've got 3 or more objectives, he can inspire. His abilities, they're all quite different now, is Dart Pipe. The target of this attack action cannot be driven back by this attack action. If this attack action succeeds, give the target 1 move token. So this is a real nice twist, I guess, with a Dart Pipe. You're not like inflicting damage by like hitting them or striking them. You're really going to just give them the dart pipe and then poison them. So that's pretty cool. So then it's almost going to paralyze them and then not going to be able to move. So I really like that. That kind of fits in with the narrative nicely. And this guy, he's got a movement of 4. I thought it'd be higher, but he's got a movement of 4. He can roll 2 defense dice. And again, he's going to be looking for the dodge symbol. And his wounds characteristic is 2. But let's flip the card and see what happens when he's inspired. And so here we go. We get the damage has gone up by 1. So this is the range, and the 3 rolls remains the same. But the damage dealt goes up by 1. This stays the same, and he does get an extra 1 move, and he also gets 1 extra defense roll. So inspiring this guy, you get quite a lot. You get that extra damage, extra movement, and extra defense. So that's pretty good. So there we go. That's our 3rd fighter. Now we're on to Zepik, the skink hunter, and he looks quite similar to the other fighter, who is called Tok, but you'll see he's got a shield, so he kind of has got a little bit of a difference there. He's got a moonstone club with a weapon range of 1, can make 2 attacks looking for the fury symbol, and he can deal 1 point of damage. To inspire, the warband has to hold 3 or more objectives, the same as before, and he's got a movement of 4. He's got 1 defense roll, and he's looking for block, and he's got a wounds characteristic of 2. So again, pretty weak, not very tough, these guys. And then here we're looking at his ability is skittish, and we've got to look to Hawachi's fighter card so that we can see what that is. And so just as a recap, here's the skittish ability, which is a reaction. After an opponent's power step, push this fighter 1 hex away from an enemy fighter within 2 hexes. So exactly the same as Hawachi. Now we flip the card, and you'll see that Zepik is now inspired, and he can make 3 attacks, and he can now deal 2 points of damage. His movement's also gone up to 5, so that's really good. So again, once you inspire, these guys start moving really fast then. They can deal a little bit more damage, and in some cases can defend a bit better too. Our next fighter is Tok, and he's a skink hunter as well. So lots of hunters in this warband, and he's got 2 weapons. The first one is the Bolt Spitter with a range of 3, 2 attacks looking for the Fury symbol and dealing 1 damage point. He's also got the Moonstone Club, which is a range of 1, 2 attacks with the Fury symbol, and he also deals 1 damage point there. He's got a movement of 4, 1 defense roll with dodge symbol, and a wounds characteristic of 2, and he inspires just like all the others, and he's also got the skittish ability as well. Then flipping the card, we've now got Tok inspired, and he's got that still got that 3 range, 2 attacks, dealing 1 damage point, and he's still got the range of 1 there for the Moonstone Club, but now he can make 3 attacks instead of 2, and that's only going to still deal 1 point of damage. But his movement's gone up, so he can now move 5, and he can also make 2 defense rolls instead of 1. So there we go, that's Tok inspired, and that leaves just 1 fighter, and I've left the big guy till last, so let's move on to Clack-Trok. And here's the big beast Clack-Trok, a great looking miniature, and you can see he's got his picture here on the card, and he's just straight up Clack-Trok. He's not a hunter or anything like that. He's got 2 weapons, and we're expecting him to deal a bit more damage now. So his first weapon is the Celestite War Maul. That's got a range of 1, making 2 attacks, and he's looking for the smash symbol, and he's going to deal 3 damage points now. So this is more like it, a bit tougher. And he's also got powerful jaws, so he's got a range of 1, just 1 dice roll here, and that's looking for the fury symbol, and it's only going to deal 1 point of damage. That doesn't sound great, but if we look here, we're going to see an ability in a second. So for him to inspire, exactly the same as the other fighters, and he's got a movement of 3, so he's a lot bigger, more cumbersome, he's not going to be as fast, and he's got 1 defense roll, and he's looking for block, and he can take 4 wounds. His wounds characteristic is a little bit higher. And now let's look at the ability. So powerful jaws. This attack action's characteristics cannot be modified. And it comes with a reaction. After this fighter's activation, this fighter makes the powerful jaws attack action. So this is pretty interesting. So you can't change these characteristics or modify them in any way. So I guess none of the cards are going to apply to them. But it is like a bonus attack action after every activation. So that's really cool. So after every activation, you do get this chance of making a little bit extra damage using the powerful jaws. And flipping over the card, we've got Clack-Trok inspired. And you can see he's got that weapon still, range of 1, 2 attacks, dealing 3 points of damage. And with the powerful jaws, though this has gone up, it's still got the weapon range of 1, but he can now make 2 attacks, dealing 1 point of damage. The abilities all stayed the same. His movement's gone up, so now he can move 4. And he's got 2 defense dice now instead of just 1. And so he's still looking at the block symbol, but he's got 2 opportunities. So there we go. That's all the fighters now. So let's take a look at the objective and the ploys and the gambits and all that. And we'll go through all those cards. And I've picked out just a few from the 2 decks. I've picked out 3 cards from the deck that's specific to the Starblood Stalkers, and also 3 from the Universal deck. So here's our first objective card, and this one's taken from the Universal deck, and it's called the Greater Hunt. And you score this in an end phase if there are more surviving friendly hunters than surviving enemy hunters. And with so many hunters in this warband, I think there's 4 altogether, then this is going to be a pretty easy one to get. And, you know, depending on which warband you're going up against, you might even be able to score this straight away after the first end phase. So this could be a sneaky way to get an objective point, or a glory point, really quickly. And for the ploy card from the Universal deck, I've picked Living Land, and for this you pick 1. You flip an objective token that has the same number as the round number, or move 1 objective token in your territory 1 hex. So I really like that. The idea of either flipping the token or moving the objective token seemed really cool. So being able to move an objective token 1 hex of your territory, that's really great. So then you could move it maybe towards the edge of the board. I'm not sure if that would be doable, but certainly interesting to play, and I really like this one for the ploy. And for the upgrade, I've picked Eagle Eye. This fighter is a hunter. You can re-roll 1 attack dice in this fighter's attack rolls for range 3+ attack actions. So this is really great. You can make even another fighter in the warband a hunter, and then you're going to be able to really make use of that Universal objective card there. So I thought that was a really good use. But then there's a few cards like this in the Universal deck about making them into hunters, so I thought I'd include that here. Now we're on to the Starblood Stalkers deck, and this is the objective card that's going to give 2 glory points, and this is called Vengeance of the Heavens. Score this in an end phase if there are more enemy fighters out of action than there are surviving enemy fighters. So I figured this one you'd use in a few rounds down the line. Hopefully you've taken some players out, especially using Clack-Trok, the big guy there, to do that, and so you can get 2 glory points with that. For the ploy, I've picked this one called Burst from the Shadows. And I think this is probably my favourite of all the cards. I really like this one. It kind of fits in with the narrative. And with this, you can choose up to 2 friendly hunters, push each chosen fighter up to 2 hexes. So you can really use this to move your fighters around the battlefield. And so I thought that was really cool. And again, fits in with the narrative. These guys are all about moving fast, avoiding the enemy, keeping the distance, darting in, making an attack, and then pulling out away from the fight. So yeah, I really like this one, and I think you could put this to some good use for sure. The final card that I liked is called Cloak of Feathers, and this is the upgrade. And for this, it gives +2 to movement. And when this fighter makes a move action, it can move through occupied hexes and cannot be dealt damage by lethal hexes. It must end its move action in an empty hex. So that's really great. You can move through other fighters, you can move over lethal hexes, and so I really like that. And I haven't seen a card like this yet, although I haven't gone through all the cards from the previous seasons. So this is the first time I've come across one where you can move through occupied hexes. So I really like that one, and that's the final card that caught my eye from both decks. So there we go, that's the STARBLOOD Stalkers, and I really like this warband. The miniatures look great, they've got some interesting cards, and I'm really looking forward to getting them in and having a game with them on the battlefield and see how they perform. I'd love to hear what you think about the STARBLOOD Stalkers. Have you picked them up yet? Have you had the chance to play them? And what do you think about the cards that I picked out? It'd be great to hear your thoughts. And again, if I've made any mistakes as I go through the video, I'm still learning the game, and so please correct it in the comment section below. That would be brilliant. If you don't have these yet and would like to pick them up, then I'll put a link for you in the description below, and that'll be a link to Element Games, and there you can save up to 20%. It is an affiliate link, but it's going to save you that 20%, and for every sale made through that link, I'll get a small commission, and that's going to help me make loads more videos like this. So thanks so much for that support. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel in a different way, then please check out my Patreon. It's a great place where we hang out on Discord, share all our hobby ideas, help each other out, and you can also get some content there that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I'll put a link for that in the description too, and it'd be awesome to see you there. I hope you liked the video, and I'm really impressed with these miniatures. I think this whole season of Warhammer Underworlds has been amazing, and these are really great. So I'm really pleased with them. Hope you like them too. But thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.